Throughout American history, duels have been a way of settling personal disputes, defending one's honor, or challenging a political rival. Although dueling was illegal in most states, it was still practiced by many prominent figures, such as Alexander Hamilton, Aaron Burr, Andrew Jackson, and Abraham Lincoln. Aaron Burr and Alexander Hamilton. This is the most famous duel in American history, which took place on July 11, 1804 in Weehawken, New Jersey. Burr, who was then serving as vice president under Thomas Jefferson, challenged Hamilton, a leading Federalist and former Secretary of the Treasury, over a series of insults and political disagreements. Both men fired, but only Hamilton was hit. He died the next day from his wound. Andrew Jackson and Charles Dickinson. This was one of the most brutal duels which occurred on May 30, 1806, in Logan County, Kentucky. Jackson, a fearless soldier and future president, accepted a challenge from Dickinson, a renowned duelist and lawyer, over a dispute about a horse race and an insult to Jackson's wife. Dickinson fired first and hit Jackson in the chest, but Jackson's pistol jammed. In a breach of the code duello, Jackson recocked his pistol and killed Dickinson. Henry Clay and John Randolph. This was perhaps the oddest duel in American history, which occurred on April 8, 1826 in Virginia. Clay, then Secretary of State and future senator, challenged Randolph, a senator from Virginia and known hothead, over a speech in which Randolph accused Clay of crucifying the Constitution and cheating at cards. Randolph was a much better duelist and did not want to kill Clay, so he worked with another chronic dueler, Thomas Hart Benton, to purposely miss his first shot. Clay also missed his first shot, but demanded another round. Randolph then fired into the air to show his magnanimity. Clay accepted this gesture and ended the duel with a handshake. William Jordan Graves and Jonathan Silly. This was a rare case of two members of the House of Representatives dueling each other, which happened on February 24, 1838, in Bladensburg, Maryland. Graves, a Kentucky Whig, acted as a second for James Webb, a New York newspaper editor who had been challenged by Silly, a Maine Democrat, over an accusation of corruption. However, Silly refused to accept Graves as a second, so Graves challenged Silly himself. After 3 rounds of fire, Silly was shot in the abdomen and died shortly after. The Supreme Court boycotted the funeral in protest. Abraham Lincoln and James Shields. This was an almost duel that was prevented by diplomacy and humor, which took place on September 22, 1842, near Alton, Illinois. Lincoln, then a state legislator and future president, was accused by Shields, the state auditor and future general, of writing a letter mocking his policies and personal life. Shields challenged Lincoln to a duel with broadswords as the weapons of choice. However, by the time the two men met for the duel, their seconds were able to convince them to settle on the grounds that Lincoln was not responsible for the letters. It also helped that Lincoln towered over his opponent and made some jokes about cutting off his legs.